Sanders is among the Democratic candidates who will be in Miami next week for a debate. With more reaction to all of this, we do want to bring in our experts to help break all of this down. So we've got former Republican Congressman Ric Keller here with us, as well as Camara Williams, Democratic analyst and local attorney. Good morning to the both of you. It's always good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks for being here. So let's start off with this from each of you. How do you think the president did last night? Ric, we'll start with you.
Sort of like a rock star if you like his kind of music. If you imagine a concert, that's sort of how it went down. He comes out and plays his greatest hits of Fake News and Crooked Hillary. There's a drum solo by Sarah Huckabee. He briefly introduces the band, which is The Wall, The Economy, and The Judges. And then at the end, there's a little encore talking about Sleepy Joe. If you liked him going in, you're going to love him coming out. But if you don't like him coming in, you're going to hate him coming out.
Kamara?
I would agree with Rick. I would say that, for his base, he hit all the marks that they wanted. They were giving a chance to, build a wall and lock her up. But if you're an independent or maybe even a Democrat, I don't think he brought anything new to the table for you.
I think one of the things that is clear is he has got to win the I-4 corridor. He's got to win the state of Florida in order to win re-election in 2020. One of the things that you both said is, and you talked about his greatest hits, those were his greatest hits from 2016, right? So will those greatest hits play well on Broadway, meaning will they play well as we head into 2020?
Well, that's the $24,000 question, or $64,000 question, I guess it was. And you're right, the road to the White House is the I-4 corridor, and this is where the magic happens. This is where President Bush won by 537 votes. This is where I won by 51-49 and lost 52-48. They flip back and forth, and it's where the magic happens. And sometimes you're the guy who pulls the rabbit out of the hat, and sometimes you're the guy in the box who gets cut in half. And we won't know the answer to that till about another year.
Kamara?
Well, I would actually say it's a billion-dollar question because of the billions that's going to be spent in this election. Florida actually, as we stated last night, is a 1% voting state. And so he's not worried about, yes, the blue county of Orange County. He's worried about the pockets of Central Florida, the suburbs of Windermere or Winter Park or even Seminole County. There's things that he's looking at that say, hey, there's a reason why I came to Central Florida, because I'm targeting certain demographics. That's
an interesting point, because one of the things that I would argue here is those counties that the president won in 2016, he won some of them by a very narrow margin. Do you think that that message still will resonate by those folks who really barely voted for him in those counties in 2016?
I think it will be almost an identical performance, and I think he's going to lose Orange and Osceola because the demographics are so shifted, and he's going to win the surrounding ones, Seminole, Lake, Brevard, Volusia, and especially Sumter, where you have the villages.
Let me talk to you about Seminole, though, specifically, which is a purple county, right? So do you think that that could shift blue in 2020?
Seminole is very fascinating in that you're right. The last election, it went Democrat for governor and the Senate, but just before it had gone for the Republican president, and so it's a shifting demographic here. It's up in the air.
Kamara?
I think Seminole County, you're having younger people vote coming into the county, and so you're seeing a change in demographic of voting. What I would say is that it's not the business voters that are going to be changing their minds in Trump. I would say it's the middle-class voters, it's the workers who voted for him. Those are the people that you're going to have to wonder whether or not they're still going to stick with the president.
Let's talk really quickly, we've got about 30 seconds left, about the young voter, right? Because more people than ever before, more younger people are registering to vote as soon as they turn 18, right? Well, maybe they would have waited a little while longer. How much do you think the young vote will either help or hurt the president as we go into 2020? Rick?
Under 35 voters consistently vote Democrat. The challenge is the UCF kids don't show up. The older voters, such as in villages, vote Republican, but they do show up.
You're going to have a problem trying to get those people to get motivated, especially with you have candidates like Biden who are 71 or even...
You're saying motivated to even get to the polls?
Yes. I don't know if they've actually resonated with any of the candidates. And in Bernie's playing this 2016 hits again, does that still resonate with the younger voters? That's a big question.
It's going to be a big question. We'll got about 15 months to go before that question is answered. Ric Keller, always good to see you. Camara, good to see you as well. The time right now is 9:11. Let's go back over to you now, Amy.
All right.